Welcome everyone to this first in the series of how I made it, or the making of. I haven't quite decided on what the name is going to be, but if you are joining me here on YouTube, welcome to the first in the series. We're going way back to an album that everyone is loving at the moment, the Mind Blossom album. We're going to go through a few tracks in there. We're looking today at nostalgia, and essentially what we're going to do, we're going to break down some of the thoughts I had while making the tracks, some specific samples I used, the chords, how the drums work, and then the main thing which a lot of people have been asking for is like some tips on the mixing. So we've got that for you today. I'm just using OBS really for like maybe the 5th or 6th time, so I can just see the thing. It says it's recording, the audio is moving up and down, so it's capturing my audio. But if there's anything that you feel like I can improve on with these videos, or if there's anything you want to see specifically with them, any tracks you want to hear, let me know. So let's get started. We are here in OBS and FL Studio, and we're looking at nostalgia. So we are going to start with just a few basics, like the tempo is 88 BPM. Here's the playlist. This track is really split into, I call them like the A, B, A sections, where the A section, if you heard the track, thank you. If you haven't, go listen to that now on all platforms. But yeah, we've got the intro and the main section, which kind of starts off like this. So you hear like the main melody and the chords and the drums come in. Then we kind of go into this like breakdown in the B section, which sounds like this. And to finish, we have this kind of like, what's the word, like, so it's basically the A section repeated, but just more hyped, more instruments coming in, and just more energy really. So yeah, essentially going to take you through some of the instruments I used. And let's start off with everyone's favorite, the drums. So not too much going on with the drums, I say that, but once we get into it, maybe we'll find out. For the kick, we've got this kick sound. And I believe I got that from here. And what we did actually, or what I did, is take this original kick sound. And at the time, this was like 3-4 years ago, I bought this before then, but this SP505, I was quite new to this, and what I did was run lots of these sounds from nostalgia, actually from the whole Mind Blossom album, either running them through this and using it as like an effects processor, or I would program some drums in here, resample them, and then export them back into FL. So this, if you're thinking about like what the sound of Mind Blossom is, this is probably the key in terms of the effects that were used. So yeah, the kick was run through there. And then let's go on to the snare. We use this snare. This snare is a sample actually. Who is it from? I had it here somewhere. Oh yeah, no, here it is. Here's the original snare. It's from Sonny Herman, What About Me? and this is it. And it's just about to go into like a sax melody. So cut that out at the end. So it was just the snare, put some effects on it, and we came up with this. And we'll go into like the mix and stuff later, but then we had this clap as well, and laid the both of them on there. We have this little jazz kind of drum loop that I chopped up. Really simple, but just add some flavor to it and add some texture. And hi-hats. There must be some hi-hats somewhere. Where are these hi-hats? Oh yeah, here they are. And then we got some crackle going on. And that's it really for the drums. We do have a ride that comes in later on in the track. So if we head down here, you can hear that ride coming in as well. So that's it really. We have keys, which sounds like this. Really what's going on there is a key sound from the Korg Kronos, which is just to my right. And we ran that through the SP as well. There's a really nice vinyl sim compressor that it has. And anyone who's familiar with the 303, it's the same vinyl sim compressor that's in that one, which is in the 505. So that's what you're getting here. And there are some extra bits on there on the mixer. Bass. Must be this one. So that is from this. So the bass sound that's from this Korg MicroKorg. I've had this over half of my life. So you can see there's loads of dust on it there. But yeah, this is where the bass sound comes from, and I think there's some string sounds that came from here as well, so we'll get into that. Yep, this is from the Korg MicroKorg as well, just some basic plucky sounds. Here's that string sound that kind of goes on throughout. And then all that changes really is we have this sound for the B section. This is from the Korg Kronos. So yeah, that's from the Korg Kronos. And then we have some synths. From the Korg Kronos as well. And that's really it on the instrument front. Let's get into maybe just what some of the chords are. So we've got the keyboard up here. Just going to move this mic a little bit closer so you can see the keyboard. Basically 2 chords going throughout. You've got this B flat minor 7. And then it goes to, you could call it like a G minor 7. But really with what the bass is doing, it's, I think of it as like a E flat major 9. So we're going from here. And then the melody is so yeah, that's it pretty much. Let's look at some mixing. As you can see, we're only using about 24 tracks. So this was back in the day when life was simple for me. I would just little amount of processing, and I think the lesson was for me that I didn't really know much about mixing, so there was only a limited amount I could do, which meant my mixes were quite limited. But I really liked the outcome and probably how I worked with some of these tracks. So what we'll do, we'll start with like the drums. We've got them highlighted in green. Then we'll move on to the bass, and then we'll look at some keys, and then just some random effects and automation and stuff that's going on. So what we have with the kick, as you can see, you got one thing on there. Actually, this scene isn't going to work. Let us change back and put this back in here. I just realized that wasn't going to work because I couldn't show you all of the effects. You can see, like, we're just learning this. If this is going to be a regular thing, this is good for me to test out. Hoping it's going to be a regular thing. So we have on the kick, we just have the DBX. I'll show you what it's doing. We might do some before and afters as well. So this is doing quite a bit of compression. And it might sound a bit punchy and a bit snappy, and that's kind of what I wanted. But when you listen to it by itself, maybe it's not ideal, but when you bring all the instruments back on top of it, it kind of stands out. But I've also like kind of rolled off the mix, so I had a bit of the original kind of body to it, because it does sometimes over compressing can make it kind of sound flat. So we did a bit of that. It's being routed to two different places. So you can see here, you've got these lines that are kind of routing it to two tracks. Let's listen to what I did with one of them. One of them I called kick disc. So I tried to get a bit of distortion to also add back some of that presence to the kick. This was a while ago. I would do this in a different way now, but here's what that sounds like. So let's just hear the kick distortion. And then this is the kick without the distortion. And then we'll put both of them back in together. So yeah, you can see what difference that makes. So that's a tip for you there. Snare, again, compression. And what happened was the compressor was giving it quite a bit of a sharp attack. So after that, I added probably my favorite plugin. What they say, those, if you're stranded on a desert island, what plugin would you take? This is the one. This was just to kind of like cut that transient off, but still it just keeps it really like snappy. So I did that. Here's how that sounds. Decapitator off. Compressor off. So what you can see here, like the snare with the compressor off, check the meter. We're hitting there. Let me turn the compressor on. So what, I can't remember what that was. But you can see it like increased quite a bit. So then I think the decapitator takes some of that back off. Yeah, so it takes a little bit back off. And I did the same thing here. There's a distortion on it to kind of give it some body back. And then we kind of layered that with a clap as well. And then there's a bus here with some plate reverb, which is also being distorted quite heavily as well, like you can see. Let's actually listen to that. Let's listen to that reverb. Yeah, so you can hear that's being distorted quite a bit. Then we have some basic stuff, hats and rides, the jazz sample and the crackle. Get all of those out of the way. And then all the drums together. Nice one. Moving along, what we have here, we've got bass. On the bass, again, compression. And you can see not much is happening, but sometimes there were peaks probably towards the end. So here I didn't really want it to be doing any compression, but just to control some of the peaks, when it did get a bit louder, it would be compressing. Some crazy EQ. I don't know what I was doing here. This EQ is really nice. It's got a nice tube effect on there to give it some warmth. And then decapitator again to kind of just give it some bite. And then we have this string. Got some cassette on there to give it a bit of like a old sound, lo-fi. So if I turn that off, you can hear that kind of takes all the hiss away. This is my side chain. We can come back to that. Let's look at the keys. That will be interesting. So first thing we got some more tape. So like even running it through the SP and the vinyl sim, which kind of sounds like a tape compressor anyway, we added some more tape here for some saturation. So you got saturation there and the noise level. That was mainly what that was for. We won't go through the EQ. We put this cassette on there, and I think this one no, I can't see anything special there. It was probably just for some more just trying to make it more lo-fi as I possibly could. And then that's routed to the keys bus, which has some more compression going on here. And we added a little bit of noise, down here as well. And then, as we said, in the B section, we got these keys. Those keys are also running through here as well. And with this cassette plugin, we've added like the random snap bit on like 5%. So it does that little wheel. It kind of like, I don't know what it is, but it adds like a nice kind of effect. And then towards the end, we have that synth. And you can see here we got a little micro shift just to mess with the wideness. So if we solo that on and off, you kind of hear how that improves. Well, not improves, it just messes with the wideness a bit. We got cassette again. You can tell I just got this plugin because I'm using it everywhere on this record. That's the stuff for that, so we can solo that on and off. Yeah, listen to how thin that sounds without it. So yeah, we had that. We had the decapitator as well. And why have I got Maximus on here? What am I doing there? Oh yeah, so with this, I like to have, I think what happened was the lows were kind of like all over the place in the stereo field. So if we listen to that solo, what I did, I used that to make it just in the center. Supposed to help your mix apparently, and I think I just liked it as well. And that's what it was before, and that's what it is solo, like mono. Cool. And then other than that, we have some chimes. This is the width, so just to add some width to the mix, I routed some tracks to here and just added a bit of like stereo width. So if we hear like, let's go to maybe the B section, so I got some width. Yeah, so I'm going to solo that on and off. You might be able to hear the difference, you might not, but depending on how you're hearing this with headphones or what. But yeah. And that's it really with everything. And then with the master, I've got some things on here, but they're not really doing anything. This is just Ozone Imager. It's just for me to kind of like gauge how, what is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but like how like wide the mix is. And sometimes the wider it is, the worse it translates on other systems, so other people's speakers and stuff like that. So I was just checking how controlled that was, and I just had an EQ which isn't doing anything. It is just, I was just like monitoring some stuff. So there's nothing on the master, and yeah, that was it. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully that was a bit of an informative kind of insight into how I made this track, some of the effects I used, some of the plugins and stuff like that, and samples. But if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comment. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. And if you want to see more of these, let me know in the comments down below. Thank you and goodbye. Peace, everyone. Take it easy.